Namaste and welcome to Voices of India. I am Devisha Jatakia, your host and founder of Apni Indian Gully. We feature Indian brands and people who are shaping the future of India with their work, art, innovation, and passion. We are a digital platform to support and give them digital visibility through interviews, brand promotion, meetups, and much more. On this episode, we are going to discuss about the role of society in embracing autism with Dr. Isha Soni. She's the center head and occupational therapist and the founding member of Lexicon Rainbow School and Child Development Center. With over 12 years of experience, she advocates breaking child development taboos. She focuses on children's development and also skillful coaching parents from toddlers to teens. So let's discuss more on the role of society in embracing autism with Dr. Isha. So let's welcome her on Voices of India by Apni Indian Gully. So, friends, we have Dr. Isha Soni with us. Welcome to Voices of India by Apni Indian Gully.
Thank you so much, Devisha. It's a pleasure being on the AIG platform.
I think so. The happiness is mutual because today I'm very excited to have this topic and discussing it with you. So, Isha, before we begin, tell us what led you to specialize in this field of autism and autism therapy.
Okay. So I've been always a very curious learner. When
Mm-hmm.
I was pursuing my graduation from KEM Hospital, Mumbai, autism was a very new concept. So, it was something unknown. Not many people knew about it. And I was fortunate enough to see a lot of clients with autism during my graduation. So I thought that, this is something, and I was always inclined towards children. So I was very sure that I want to do something ahead in pediatrics. Although we as occupational therapists, we are trained in all the medical fields. So I knew I want to do pediatrics. When I started working in Pune, I was able to connect very well with children on the autism spectrum. So it takes a lot for someone to connect with a child who is nonverbal, or who is lacking in social skills. And this is something which even the parents saw. And moreover, they it started spreading with the word of mouth. And I started getting more referrals from doctors, especially for children who are on the autism spectrum. And
Okay.
so that's how I started specializing in autism, and my keen interest in this further made me do international workshops and gain more training in autism and sensory integration therapy.
Wow, wow. So because that's a very different, I mean, niche or probably, a thing that you have picked up. So tell us which are some common misunderstandings about autism in India?
So yeah, there are many, but I would like to debunk the most important ones. Many people feel that autism is a disease. So it's
Okay.
not a disease. It is a lifelong condition. It's a different way of being, and we are also calling these children or individual as neurodiverse. Means they are wired a little differently. The way they look at things, they perceive things is different, or the way they are communicating with us is different than all of us do. So, number one, autism is not a disease, and so there is no cure for it. But therapies help to improve the quality of life for children, especially.
Okay.
Secondly, many times it is thought that autism is caused due to bad parenting or emotional neglect, and this is the guilt which parents carry lifelong. So I would like to very clearly specify that none of the research studies, there are like so much of research being done in the field of autism from many years. So none of it, mention that it is caused by a parental neglect.
Okay.
So that is second one.
Mm-hmm.
Third one being many people feel that autistic children are same as children who have intellectual disabilities. So
Oh.
again, that's not the case. These children, they are very smart. It's just that the way they look and see things is different. And fourthly, I would just like to say that, if you know one child with autism, you know only that child with autism, and it is not like, a fixed protocol that will work for every child, because
Right.
autism is a spectrum disorder. So, every child gets affected differently by it, and they show, like, progress at different pace. So they are responding differently to therapies. So I think
Hmm.
these are the main misconceptions that I would like to clear.
So, Isha, in a very simple line or maybe a simple tone of language, tell us what is autism, because people are really confused in India specifically with regards to this thing.
So, in a very layman term, I would say autism is, affecting children in their early childhood development years. So, like, yes, autism is present by birth, but the symptoms come to the fore anytime between 12 months to 18 months, especially. And
Okay.
these children, they show a delay in social skills, like not giving eye contact, or the social smile being absent, or they do not follow pointing what you are
Hmm.
showing at. They uh, they find difficult to communicate with others. So, using language, it doesn't mean that they do not understand what you are talking to them. Receptive language is good, but they are not able to express it. And sometimes they are engaged in stereotypical behaviors, like, hand flapping or
Yeah.
rocking. So in simple terms, it is not a visible condition. That child may just look like any other child, but the child lacks or finds it difficult to be social, to communicate effectively, and they have some restricted interests.
Okay. Interestingly, I mean, you have just simplified it for our audience. So, according to you, Isha, how well does Indian society understand autism?
See, so if I have to talk about a decade before, yes, there has
Mm-hmm.
been a lot of increase in, understanding and acceptance, but still
Okay.
India has a long way to go. Still, in many parts of India, it is considered as a taboo. So, for that matter, any mental health disorder or anything to do with neurodevelopmental conditions is considered a taboo. Many families simply go in denial that no, there is no such family history that we have. There have never been such cases in our families. This is not possible. Um, and, like, hence the acceptance is not there because awareness is not there. So hence we many times we see these children being isolated, parents being isolated, other
Mm-hmm.
mothers telling their children that, don't play with this child. This child looks a little like, appears to be little different. So I think India has a long way to go when it comes to accepting children, or being more aware about it.
True, true. Because somewhere I guess India has, have recently started accepting mental awareness, and they have started creating more about it. So this also I assume कि थोड़े time में वो भी हो जाना चाहिए,
Yeah,
because
like
people are
more
getting
so
more.
after the pandemic, a lot of importance has been given to mental health.
True, true. So how can we as communities make it more inclusive for individuals with autism?
So I think the number one would be awareness. There is always a fear of unknown.
Hmm.
Today,
Hmm.
if any child is going to a regular preschool, and, if the parents are honest enough to tell that, my child is autistic at the time of admission, most of the preschools will say, oh, we don't really keep these children, or
Ah.
our staff is not equipped to handle these children. So, it is the fear of unknown. Just now, I just told you what autism is. It is just
Right.
that the child has different interests, or the child may have certain hypersensitivity, sensory hypersensitivity. So, what is normal and okay for you and me, the sounds
Hmm.
or the touch, that child may just close his ears, get very upset. So it is always this fear of unknown. So if we have more awareness programs, workshops, education, so then if people know about it, they will be more okay accepting these children and supporting these children. And I believe a lot of companies are also supporting diversity and inclusion. So
Hmm.
many multinational companies, or even startups for that matter, they have started employing even adults with autism. So as I said, autism is a lifelong condition. So it's
Hmm.
not that you're going to grow out of it. So there are adults with autism also, and even they are able to lead a productive life if the
Hmm.
companies are accommodating enough.
Right. So, Isha, you just mentioned about workshops. So, is this workshop for each and every individual who can attend, or specifically for parents whose child is suffering from autism?
So there are two kinds of workshops. See, one is the group which is already affected. So like,
Right.
the parents or the families who have autistic
Correct.
children. So, they would,
Right.
these workshops would be more centered about, how to work on this thing, or, how to modify behaviors, or how to support your child from the sensory framework, or, how to increase speech and language and communication in your child. The
Okay.
second workshop is for parents who do not have a child with autism in their family, but yet we are spreading awareness about what is autism and how you as an individual can be empathetic towards them.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
these are the two different kinds of workshops, or maybe creating awareness in companies. So, these days companies, they have a lot of young force, and
Hmm.
mostly both the parents are working, young parents, and, the child is in the daycare. So many times certain symptoms kind of get overlooked. The early signs and symptoms, they kind of get overlooked from the parents, the new parents, and also because they don't have grandparents staying with them. So, if such awareness workshops are done in the companies, the parents will also be able to identify these early signs and
Right.
hence then seek early intervention.
Early intervention. That was a really a great piece of advice. So, can you mention any Indian organizations who are supporting this awareness and autism?
So there are many, I would say, like, Accenture is there, Morgan
Okay.
is there. Then in the group of hotels, Hyatt in Pune, I know, they are employing adults with autism. And
Okay.
when it comes to working with autism, Action for Autism in Delhi has been doing a wonderful job. And I would say every center in every city is trying to, do their best in supporting
Right.
students with autism. I would like to make a special mention. So, we at Lexicon Rainbow, even
Hmm.
we have employed a neurodiverse adult with us who is
Okay.
helping the children, who is
Wow.
helping us in teaching and assisting other students. So, I think it helps us to complete that circle, like, what we are working towards. It is an example for the parents that, if you work with your child, you are able to seek your child will be able to gain a meaningful employment and lead a productive life.
Correct. Correct. So, any advice that you would like to give to parents whose children are suffering from autism?
I would say do not delay. Go to the right professional. Don't listen to certain things that what his your husband also spoke late, or somebody else in the family also spoke late. Oh, it's just because of the pandemic, the lack of social stimulation. So don't listen to these things. Trust your gut feeling. And like here I would like to be a little biased. If you as a mom feel that there is something wrong with your child, please go and show to your pediatrician. Seek early intervention, because the early intervention can change the entire life trajectory of your child,
Wow.
rather than just sitting and waiting and watching. And please go for evidence based intervention. So once the parent has gone to that stage of accepting, once the parent has
Mm,
accepted that, okay,
mm,
my child is autistic, then the parent doesn't leave any thing, to make his child all right. And in
mm,
that process, the parent may fall to many gimmicks or quack treatments, which are actually harmful for your child. So
yes.
trust your therapist, demand transparency from your therapist. You, as a parent, have full rights to know what are the goals discussed for your child, and in what is the therapist doing, what are you
Mm,
supposed to do at home. So these are some very, very important pointers for the parents.
wow. So, any advice specifically for parents who are hesitant to, seek help for their children for autism? Any, because we have been talking on this.
Yeah, so it's difficult. I mean, today, even if your child gets fever, it's difficult
True.
to you cannot see your child suffering. So
Mm,
yes, this has happened, but it's only you who can bring about a change in the child. So,
mm,
the therapists, the doctors, they are just there to help you. It's you,
right.
you are the workforce behind your child who can bring about the change in your child. So just take that one step outside and go and seek the right help, I would say.
Wow. And how can we encourage empathy towards autism as a society?
So, see, as a society, there are many things that we can do. One
Mm,
is being open to their way of communication. So, they may not be very fluent in talking or in expressing their needs and thoughts, but
mhm.
maybe understanding their nonverbal gestures will help us. Making the society more inclusive for them. So, these days we see in the malls, first there used to be only, word signages. Now we also see a lot of visual or
Visual.
graphic or pictorial
Correct.
signages. So, this is what helps. So it is not just physical disabilities, just take ramp lagane se at any given organization, you do not become inclusive. You have to be
Right.
inclusive considering even the mental health disorders that an individual might have. So, use of such signages, sensitizing your own children that, okay,
Mm,
some children are just different. Maybe,
right.
yeah, so like, accepting them, teaching them not to outcast with them, but, how to connect with them. So, because, today's children are going to be tomorrow's adults and the workforce in the country. So,
Correct.
it's always better if we start early.
Hmm.
Just training adults doesn't help, but I feel we should, and we are doing this at Lexicon, that we are training our other students, also the neurotypical children, to accept children with differences.
That is, I guess, it's a very important part that is going to
Yeah,
strengthen the whole thought process. And what are your
yeah.
hopes of autism acceptance in India?
So, as I told, the picture has certainly improved over the last decade, and also because it is become very common now. So, it's a debate whether the prevalence has increased or the awareness has increased. So, but now we are getting more and more to hear, listen, diagnose about autism. So, I think. Most people know about it now, like at least the secondary or the tertiary people who are
Ah,
affected. So they know about autism, and then they talk to another few people. So I think at all levels we are working. So at personal level, at the family level, at the corporate
right.
level. So I
Hmm.
think it will be accepted. And as we just spoke, that mental health has come to the limelight now.
Right.
So even this is one of the related diagnosis. So I think another 10 years, if we get to talk and chat again, I think
Yeah.
we will not have this question.
I'm pretty much sure, and I hope this happens super soon.
Yes, yes.
So before ending up, Isha, tell us, how do you feel about being featured on Voices of India by Apni Indian Gully?
So you all are doing great work, and I think this is what we all should resonate for. That trying to reach out, working at grassroots levels, spreading awareness. So I find myself, it is my pleasure that I have been featured on Apni Indian Gully because it is going to help us spread awareness about autism.
True. And any last tip that you would like to share with our viewers? Maybe one
If
or two.
you if you suspect anything, please don't hesitate. Go and seek help. The stigma, the taboo related to it is not going to help your child. The society or the neighbors or your relatives are not coming to help your child. It's only you who can, bring out the change. And if you accept the child, so everybody else will around you.
Wow, that was a fantastic one. And thank you so much, Isha, for coming on Voices of India. And it was a pleasure connecting with you.
Same here, Devisha. Thank you so much for having us.
We'll also keep some kind of workshop with our community, and let's create a more wave and reach out to more people on this topic, because it's very important for us, for the
Yes,
generation, and the future of India, of course. And with this,
yes.
we are signing off with the Voices of India, and see you next time in next episode with yet another expert. And we may have Isha again with us with more tips and something more interesting sharing. So stay tuned, do like, share, and subscribe to Apni Indian Gully. You'll see the bell button here and there. Go forward and do it. Thank you.